All right, afternoon guys. It's Monday, September 29th, and we're gonna go do some soybeans. So I didn't think we were gonna start till Tuesday, but I couldn't get trucks to line up to fill in the field, so we're just gonna haul those beans home to our home elevator, put them in a bin, and just probably ship them out next week when trucks are available. And hopefully that speeds up harvest a bit. I think it will. I think it'll speed harvest up. We can get the beans off, put them in a bin. And yes, it might take a little longer for the load trucks, the way we got the elevator set up. But I think it'll bode well in our favor as far as getting the beans off and getting the field work done. It's only 2 loads of beans, so we'll be fine. So just letting this thing fire up. Make sure my grain cart scale is gonna work. Finding an iPad charger was the hard part for that, but we should be good to go. And once we get rolling there, I'll get you guys updated. Joe's just fueling the combine and cleaning some windows because those edible beans were dusty. And I think we're just going to try and do a couple thousand bushels of beans tonight. And then finish up that field tomorrow. It's a bit of a late start. It's 4 o'clock now, so probably only got till about 4 hours of combine to do. So, which will be good. Be 4 hours less tomorrow to do. Well, I'm hoping we've got the worst beans done so far, which on this farm the headlands are notoriously terrible. I think it has to do with compaction and lack of tile drainage on them and like outlet. And also the outside, since we were in a drought, those weeds really sucked moisture, competed with the beans. The rest of the field is a lot better, but hopefully they're nothing but up from here. And it's slowly creeping up. The front headland was terrible. Like the headland along the side road was terrible. Water laid on it, and the beans were really thin there. So he's just getting into the field now, so hopefully they're pretty good beans for the year. I wasn't expecting 70 or 80 bushel beans just for how dry it is, but anything with starting with a 5, I think it'll be pretty good for this year, just with how dry we've been. And you don't have to go too much in other directions and the beans are worse or better. That's how sporadic the rains were this year. So anyways, we'll get them off. It's dry, the field conditions are good. We're gonna get the wheat planted in good time. So move on to next year. That's all you can do. Like I said, you can't dwell on it. Take notes and do what you can do to hopefully improve next year. All right, I like get out in the cab while Joe's going by here. We've got lots of time. Just check to make sure he's not putting too much out the back. Maybe a little bit, but overall pretty good. What we could be seeing on the ground is header loss, just because you want to check loss out the back of the combine. You just come into the rows that haven't been harvested, because the combine will throw them into the uncut beans. So it's dusty out there. they're, I don't know, hard to say. They're potted up really good, about knee-high in spots. But I think in the low ground where the water stayed, they're really good beans, and on the tops of the hills where they dried out, it's much the same story as the edibles. We were one shot of rain short in the month of July. I think it only rained once in the month of July, and it wasn't until second or third week of August that we got a rain. So what's here, I'm pleased with what's here, but I'm just, you know, like most farmers, you're always disappointed what could have been. But because our wheat was really good, and these beans looked awesome all year. Just, that's the joys of farming. You live and die by Mother Nature. It doesn't matter what you do. She holds the cards, and if she decides that it's not going to rain for 4 weeks, and she turned the furnace on in July, that's what's going to happen. But anyways, we'll check out the sample that he's doing. I'm going to climb up on the green card here. So there's still a few pods in there of some unthrashed beans, but for the most part, they're pretty good. The beans are small, so there's enough beans per plant, but that lack of rain and the dry weather we had, they finished too quick, and they couldn't pack any more weight into those beans. So when you count the number of beans on per plant, and if we probably did a seeds per pound, I think these things are probably going to be right around 2,300, 2,400 seeds per pound. But if we had caught some rains and they weren't shutting down, and we had a couple cooler nights and we could pack on more weight, and you take those beans to 2,100, 2,200 seeds per pound, heck, even get them close to 2,000 seeds per pound, bigger beans, they probably would be well into 70 bushel. But I think this farm's probably going to make probably close to 50. Some would argue, oh, well, that's because you planted them in 30s. I don't think it's because I planted them in 30s. The ground might have shaded a little quicker and we would have saved a little more moisture, but in the past, when I've planted this farm in 15s, I've had them do just shy of 40. So the fact that they're running 50, I'm quite happy with that, because I very rarely on this farm get 50 bushel beans. It's a struggle to get the bean yields on this farm. I don't know what we can do different. It grows okay wheat, grows good corn, but beans we struggle here. I don't know why, but last year the corn was well north of 220 bushel, and they were planted in good conditions. It was cool and wet after they were planted, but just too dry in July and first part of August. So chalk it up as a learning experience. Get back to waiting. I think the meal wagon drops supper off, so I'll grab that when I go back up with the buggy to fill the wagons. I spilt the beans. Oh, that's embarrassing. I gotta come clean that up. I'll have to bring the loader down and get those picked up. I wasn't even watching the camera. I had you guys set up on the wagon. Should have been watching the camera. I would have seen them going over the other side. But it wouldn't even be a bushel. 2 bushel. It is what it is. At least you guys online can make fun of me now that I can't run the grain cart. But grab some supper here and go back to combining beans. Got the harvest lights on. Neighbors coming back from cutting beans. We're just gonna fill the buggy up here, so I think we got 2 more dumps and then we're gonna shut her down and head her home. So we're not gonna get done today. It was kind of a soft start on soybeans. It's just the 2 of us too, so once we got everything full, we were gonna have to shut down and go home, unload, and we'll just it's nice to start unloading when there's 2 people there, just to make sure everything's gonna work right. Not that I don't expect it's not gonna work right, but you never know, and it's always nice with 2 people there. That way you can quickly shut something off if something's not gonna work right. So I'll leave the video here. I'll see what we get up to tomorrow. I'm hoping I'm around to do the test plot, kind of show you guys how a test plot is harvested, but don't know. Sometimes my off-farm job requires me during harvest to be, going working on a drill or an air seeder or a combine. So my plan is hopefully to be around when they're harvesting that plot. So anyways, I got Joe calling. All right, afternoon guys. We got the test plot off. I missed it. Sorry I didn't get any footage of us taking the test plot off. But the beans on the plot range from, I want to say 42 bushel to 55 bushel. So for a dry year, and just as I predicted, the fuller season beans yielded more than the early day beans, just because the moisture came at the tail end of the growing season, and those early day beans couldn't capitalize on that moisture. But I really like doing test plots. They're a lot of work in the spring, you question it, but it just, since we've started doing test plots on corn, we pick our corn yield averages on our farms they've been more consistent, and they've been incrementally going up every year. This year might change that trend, but for the most part it's been better, and we've never done a soybean plot, so I wanted to do a soybean plot under our management, how we plant, how we harvest, how we spray them, and we're gonna go with the variety that topped it this year for our soybeans next year. And I guarantee if we get the same results out of soybeans, or in the soybeans, as we have with our corn, with our farm averages going up, because we're doing a plot on our acres and figuring out what ones we want. Because a lot of guys in the spring keep things simple. They just, whatever I recommend, their seed rep, that's what they will grow, and they'll just grow 1 variety, maybe 2, but 1, keep things simple, and they plant it across all their acres. And I don't like to do that. I like to spread my risk, and yeah, so anyways, we'll get finished up here, and then we'll move to another field. Just gonna get hooked on here on the side of the road. You'll get a spot cut. I'll dump the header cart. go around to the other side. Unlock the head so it follows the ground. Get out of the way. And he'll just get backed up here and so he'll come and cut a spot for me to get off the road here and hopefully not get hit. I was able to back up and just pull ahead a bit more. Not near that entrance. These beans were custom combining for someone. We planted them back in the spring for them, and now we're back combining them for them. So they are an earlier maturing bean, but planted a little later. And the difference here is they are solid seeded. So it should be interesting to see. A little bit different ground here. This is nice loamy ground, so a lot more forgiving than that farm that we just came from. The farm we came from's got a little more clay content in it, and it's a little heavier farm. But no, these beans definitely look like there's a lot of beans there. I don't necessarily know how well they're yielding. This headland's always tough to tell. Oddly enough, that hydro pole to those trees is exactly 60 feet, and my sprayer folds down to 72 feet. So it is a pain in the rear end to spray this headland. But I had the Patriot sprayer. Well, when we had the pull type Hardy, it was even harder because you couldn't actually keep the Hardy down to 60 feet. And then I had the Patriot sprayer before it burnt. It was 60 feet. It was fine to do this headland. But then we got the Deere R Series sprayer, and yeah, this one's a bit of a challenge to do. So, but anyways, we'll get this opened up here. You'll probably just combine and get around the hydro poles and everything opened up. That'll easily fit in the combine bin, and then show up with the buggy, unload. We'll go to the back, open up the back headland, and see what time it is, because we do have to go home. I do have to go home, finish unloading our beans, and I might bring those wagons back with me, and we'll fill and see if we can fill those wagons, unload them tonight, and then we got a sweep auger of bin of wheat out, but it was too bloody hot, so we'll wait till it cools off tonight, and we'll work with flashlights and fill the sweep auger some wheat, because it's so bloody hot out. We don't need to be sweating and exhausting ourselves. We'll just wait till it cools off, or when the sun starts to go down. Once the beans get tough, we'll shut her down, go home. So all right, back going north south. These beans got a little more green stems in them, but they're still dry. Honestly, probably the only way to get the green stems out of them is a frost, and they don't have any frost forecasted for a while. But that can change. But get the beans off so he can get his wheat planted, and it'll be all good. So I'll just catch Joe here. He's coming up behind me here. He'll swing the auger out, and I'll pull underneath him. All right, afternoon. This is October the 3rd, Friday. And So I got home from work a little early, went and sprayed the first soybean field we combined. Have it ready for to plant wheat tomorrow. And then I was just gonna get the drill cleaned out, calibrated, touch up a few things that were broke that I missed after we finished planting beans. And I went to fire up the fan to make sure I had the remotes the right way. And sure as this air seeder goes, we had a seal go on the fan motor. And looking on the parts online, could be one of two seals. The seal internally on here, or there is a seal right here. I'm thinking it's just the cheap seal in there, but we shall see. If it's the cheap seal, that's fine, but I'm still probably not going to get the wheat planted. And I brought sockets, and I'm gonna need a wrench to take that off. Now we're getting real farmer. I went and got vice grips. Next thing will be the grinder if I can't get it. I will replace that bolt with the correct corresponding size, but she got damaged pretty good. She got damaged pretty good in there. 97, and I'm born in 94. So this thing had a few trips around the sun. So that's as is expected with an air seeder. But the tank's in good shape, and just odds and ends stuff like this just is what it is when you run older pieces of equipment. Well, that's not going to get fixed today, but luckily there's always lots to do, and I'm not going to go home and sit around and twiddle my thumbs, feel sorry for myself that it's broke. I think I've got an idea of the parts that it's going to take to fix it. Ideally, to verify which seal has gone, I need another person here. So we turn the remotes way down on the tractor, and he slowly engages the hydraulics, and we can see where the oil spits out. And yeah, so don't know. That seal doesn't look like it's gone, but maybe it is. I don't know. But anyways, we'll get that hole filled in where we were working on that water line last night, and push some dirt in. Hopefully the skid steer will start, and yeah, should be sitting in a good spot. Won't have a death trap for the kids to find and fall in. So alright, got that all filled in. We got to let it settle, and then we got to do a bunch of grade work. We probably got lots of gravel over there. That my plan is we just gravel this up here, so when we want to blow snow, we're on gravel. But clean up all our tools, and that'll need to settle. It'll take some rains to settle it out. But should be good. So we'll get all of these tools put away, and that water line and rope in the shop, and then we'll head over and go do some combining. A real green slug. A few green bugs. And I don't know, they still got white mold issues in the ground here. On to the next one. Alright guys, well that wraps up today. It was dark out and we had some issues with the draper head. We think one of the motors that drive the belts that feed it to the center belt still turns, but the two outside belts don't. And there's two possible issues. The cheap one is one of the drive pulleys or drive motors on one of the belts locked up, and since they're hooked in series, if that one's locked up, the oil can't go through, and that's why the other side doesn't turn very fast. Or the expensive one is there's a manifold block that diverts all the oil out, that either something has gotten in there that's jammed it up, not letting the oil through, or that block's gone bad. But typically with farm repairs, it's likely a little chunk of something has got in that valve block and it's not letting oil go through. That's likely what the issue is. It's not the valve block itself. Big expensive parts like that generally aren't stocked at dealerships because they are designed to last. So it was late, beans are getting tough, and we didn't have any light, so we'll likely do chores in the morning and get started tearing that apart and see what we find when we got a few more tools and a little more light. But anyways, I'll catch up with you guys in the morning. All right, morning. It's the next day. I delivered my wheat seed to the guy I got hired to plant my wheat. I don't know if I'll get over there, video him planting his wheat, or planting our wheat. He's got a new John Deere air cart and a 60-foot air seeder with a Fendt tractor. And then I also, my job, I sell precision planting, and we've got some pretty cool precision planting products on there. So might go over and have a look and see how he's getting along planting when he gets at it, if I'm available. But just gonna grab the milk mixer to feed calves, and then we should be good to go to start working on the corn, or working on the draper head. I think Joe was gonna do some check and see if anything needs to be fed, and the silage bag is supposed to show up here late morning, lunchtime. Get it all set up, and we'll likely fill a silage bag and see how we get along. Fixing stuff if we can be back combining today. We might pull out of the field that we were in and go to another field. So I'm gonna get calves fed, and then I might go check that other field to make sure that it's worth driving down and doing those beans. I think they will be, but it doesn't hurt to check. It's a farm I don't drive by quite easily, because it is a little further east of the home farm, and it's the only piece of ground out that way. So I don't get out there too often once the crop has been sprayed and there's not much you can do to it after. So I think the last time I was by it was when I was driving to the outdoor farm show back in September. So we'll get these calves fed and hopefully get some tools and stuff rounded up, and we'll go tackle that draper head. To get that bracket, where did I put that bracket? That thing's gotta come way back.
Unless I can get
Skid plates can come off.
what does that get you?
Yep, that gets me in there. So we gotta take these skid plates off. So go get the tools.
Here, hold on.
You can tell the roll.
That's what I thought.
If this rib wasn't here, slowly winning. Battery's about to die on this thing. All right, head's all back together. Hopefully it holds together for the last couple fields of beans we got to do here over the weekend. I'm just gonna slip over to town over here and grab some Gatorades and some waters. She is toasty out there today for an October. It's 30 degrees out, unheard of. So I've combined beans in the snow. I can't say I've combined beans in 30 degree weather. This is extremely abnormal for us. So anyways, I will catch up with you guys here shortly. Oh, we're just getting stuff figured out.
Well, that's my fault. I wasn't thinking I should have took that home, but I was thinking we keep the wagons together, but I wasn't thinking of the load of beans on the buggy.
Well, we're just gonna leave them. We only did one bin full. They're too green.
Here, hand these to Tom.
Why?
So you can see the camera that was stuck on the loader.
I don't know why. I was thinking light. I was looking for lights. I saw you said magnet.
All right, we got beat out by green beans on the last field. We got moved down there. Just taking our wagon home. Don't know if we'll get it silage tomorrow. It might be a Monday job. But the bag's coming to get set up tonight. So, anyways, catch up with you guys tomorrow. This is a lot easier planting wheat. I don't have to spend half a day getting mine ready. So this is a 60-foot air seeder with a C500 cart. And then it's also been outfitted with precision planting cedar force technology. So pretty high-tech drill. Alright, we're seeding wheat. This is way less stressful when I don't have to do it. Side note, this cedar force stuff is great when it works, but there's probably, on this one, there's 94 seed units, 48 rows worth of hardware, average probably 10 connections a row. So there's a lot of connections here that get moisture and dust in them, and it's not like your typical corn planter where everything's green. Sometimes it is, but wheat's going in the ground, and hopefully we get a rain Tuesday. All right, 60-foot air seeder, you're not long getting 50 acres planted. I wouldn't have even been half done. I probably would have been just getting around the outside edge and checking stuff and probably fixing something on my drill. So she's dry. She's dry. See if we can find some seeds. Yep. Perfect. Perfect. So there's moisture there, it's just powder dry. But this farm and this soil type, honestly, this is the best way to plant it. This crumbly, it just, if there was any more moisture, if there was a little more moisture in here, we would be running with issues with slotting. But now, if we get a rain on it, that seed trench isn't going to open up on us. It's just going to stay closed and that weed's going to come up. If there was a little more moisture in the ground, like if we were trying to plant this wheat last weekend after the wet weather, she would have just slotted and then the sun would have baked on it and opened up that seed trench, and we'd have next to no wheat. But you can see how hard it is. We've just got wheat laying on top of the ground here, so she's going to need a rain to germinate in here. So, and that thing has hydraulic downforce control, so it was trying to force it in, but that's compaction. So that's why it needs to go to wheat and get a rain on it and it'll be fine. But anyways, let's go back to the farm. We'll get a couple bags of seed for Grant, so in case he needs some more to finish up.